We've all seen AI that can whip up a function or a quick script. That's cool. But what happens when that tool, when it grows up? What happens when it stops being just a code helper and starts becoming a true software development agent? That's the incredible transformation we're going to dive into.
So look at this. On the left, that's the familiar stuff, an AI that just writes code. It's useful, for sure, but it's kind of limited. But on the right, that's the future. That's an agent that doesn't just write code, it understands it, it plans, and it actually interacts with an entire code base. This is the huge leap we're talking about today.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to follow the whole journey of this AI agent. First, we'll nail down what an agent even is. Then we'll check out its toolkit, take a peek inside its mind, and watch it tackle a real task. After that, we gotta set some ground rules for safety. And finally, we'll get a glimpse of the future this is all building towards. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. What really separates a simple code helper from an intelligent agent that can act like a real developer assistant? What's the secret sauce?
Honestly, the best way to think about a coding agent is like a junior developer. It doesn't just blindly spit out code. No, it can actually understand a request, look through the existing project, come up with a plan, use tools like a test runner, and, this is the really important part, it can learn from its mistakes and try again. It iterates.
And listen, this isn't just theory. These agents are being built to handle the real, everyday stuff that clogs up a developer's backlog. I mean, think about it. Implementing a small feature, cleaning up some messy code, writing all those unit tests, or even helping with the massive headache of migrating legacy code. That's a game changer.
So, how does an agent actually do all this stuff? Well, to get its hands dirty, it needs a proper toolkit, one that lets it interact with a real-world project, just like you or I would.
What's so cool here is that these tools are basically a mirror of what a human developer does all day. The agent needs to read files to see what's going on, write files to make changes, search the codebase to find things, and run commands to test its own work. And that Git integration, that is absolutely key. It lets the agent think in terms of diffs, commits, and pull requests, just like a real member of the team.
Okay, so the agent has its tools, but how does it think? How does it actually get from a simple request, in plain English, to a piece of code that actually works?
This is basically its high-level game plan. It's a really logical loop. It gets the task, it gathers context from the code, it suggests a change, and then, and this is the crucial part, it runs tests to see if it actually worked. If something breaks, it doesn't just give up. It looks at the error and tries again, just iterating over and over until it gets it right.
So that's the big picture. But what's going on from moment to moment? To really get that, we need to look at a pattern called REACT, which stands for reason and act. You can think of it like we're listening in on the agent's internal monologue while it works. It always kicks off with a thought. This is its plan. Okay, based on the request, I think I need to add this new method. This is the reason part of REACT, that moment of pure logic before it even touches a single line of code. Then it takes an action. It uses one of its tools to actually apply a patch and change a file. This is the act part. See, the agent isn't just a thinker, it's a doer. It's making real changes to the project. And here it is, the most important step, the observation. The agent runs the tests and sees that its change broke something. This feedback loop is the magic that makes the whole system so smart. Without it, the AI's just guessing. With it, it's actually learning. And this is what makes it feel so intelligent. Instead of just stopping, it thinks again. It analyzes that error message and figures out its next move. This thought, action, observation loop just keeps going again and again until the job is done right and all the tests are passing. All right, that's enough theory. Let's see how this all comes together in practice. We're going to give our AI agent a real-world task and just watch how it solves the problem. So here's the job. And it's a classic one that any web developer has seen 100 times. Add pagination to an API endpoint. Right now, it's just dumping thousands of users all at once, and we need it to be smarter than that. And just look at how it tackles this. It's so methodical. It's exactly what a good senior developer would do. First, it reads the files to understand the context. Then, it lays out a clear plan. Next, it gets to work implementing and testing using that iterative loop we just talked about. And finally, it summarizes what it did. It's a totally professional workflow. Now, giving an AI the keys to your entire codebase, yeah,
That's a big deal. It's incredibly powerful, but it also comes with some pretty serious risks. So we have to talk about the rules of the road, the guardrails that make this whole thing safe. The risks are no joke. An agent running wild could delete important files, run dangerous commands, or sneak in some really subtle bugs. That's why these guardrails are absolutely essential. We can restrict which tools it's even allowed to use, run it in a safe sandbox where it can't do any permanent damage, and most importantly, always require a human to review and approve its final work. And this right here might be the most important rule of all. These agents are powerful assistants. They are not replacements. They're here to draft that first version of a pull request or fix a pesky bug. But human oversight, code review, and your CI/CD pipeline, those are still completely non-negotiable. So, when you put it all together, the intelligence, the tools, the safety measures, what does the future of coding actually start to look like with these powerful new partners? Well, the applications we're already seeing are just incredible. Imagine an agent that drafts the first version of a pull request for you, or one that can read that ancient, confusing legacy code that nobody wants to touch and just explain it in plain English. It can automate the tedious work of a big code migration, or even act as a personal onboarding buddy for new developers, helping them get up to speed. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. The real revolution here isn't just about generating lines of code. It's about creating systems that can take part in the entire development process, understanding, changing, testing, and iterating. All of this leads to a pretty fascinating question. We've seen how these tools have evolved from simple helpers into agents that can act like junior developers. So how long is it going to be before you find yourself pair programming with an AI coworker? And what will that kind of collaboration even feel like? It's something to think about.